Spectrum wants to hear your views. You can SMS at any time during the show. Text Spectrum, leave a space, type in your contribution and name, then send it to 7197. Your views, our interviews on Spectrum, Radio 1 FM 90.
Hello, a very warm welcome. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. I'm your host, Emond. At Spectrum tonight, our company UMEME reports solid financial performance. Will this translate into fulfillment of its obligations to customers? Our company UMEME has published its financial results for last year, indicating that the company is now one of the more profitable and truly efficient firms in delivering services. This performance has been attributed to the successful rolling out of the prepaid metering system, as well as the new touch pay or mobile bill payment platform. According to the results, the prepaid metering helped expand the customer base. The power company also reports gains in the fight against power theft, saying that energy losses went down to 26% from 27% during that period. UMEME is also boasting of a revenue growth of 64%. The company also says that it invested $25 million in improving the distribution network, pointing out that this increased its earnings to 97 billion shillings last year. The good performance of the company has, however, been greeted with many questions, considering the expectations from power consumers. Many are still complaining about load shedding, while others are unhappy about the cost of power and the inaccurate bills, on top of other aspects, including a poor network. As a result, many people are wondering how the good performance of UMEME will translate into better service delivery. At the time of being contracted, the power company was expected to cut down the heavy losses, and this was expected to translate into more but cheaper power, and many observers say that UMEME should have lost its contract many years ago for failing to actually perform. UMEME sold shares to the Ugandan public last year, and according to available information, this company is preparing to cross-list on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, and some people say it cannot be a coincidence that such rosy statistics are now being publicized. And so on Spectrum tonight, we basically would like to establish how this performance is likely to affect you in due course, and if at all you are satisfied by the services of UMEME. Our guest tonight, Mr. Robert Mubiru, Project Manager at UMEME. You're most welcome, Mr. Mubiru.
Thank you very much.
We're also joined by Mr. Arthur Nsiko, Head of Research at African Alliance. You're most welcome, Mr. Nsiko.
Thank you, Emond.
And expect to be joined by Mr. Issa, Sekitto, Spokesman of Kizito, the Kampala City Traders Association. Mr. Mubiru, what are the highlights of this UMEME's performance last year?
Just like you've said, we posted strong growth in revenue, and we've still maintained our drop in the fight against losses, and we've grown our customer base, which is always positive for any business, and we have been and continue to expand and improve in terms of innovations in applying technology to deliver customer service. And articulated so well.
All right. And what does the new year look like? 2013 prospects.
I can't hazard to release financial results for this year when we haven't even gone past one quarter. But we're still working.
Projections. What does it look like? What are the projections? What do you expect to have at the end?
It's really unusual and unfair for somebody to project in the first quarter what the end of the year will look like. However, we have the same planning methodology and we have the same innovation that we are putting in place to work towards strong performance, as you've seen the numbers.
And why are you cross-listing on the Nairobi Stock Exchange?
I think that is a part of sharing the dividends with fellow East African stakeholders, but also it's good for the stability, the financial stability of the company, because you become more transparent and you get a stronger financial position.
Well, of course, we'd like to hear from you the strategies that help you get to this level. Many people might not actually believe that these figures would reflect reality. They think that UMEME is a loss-making organization. We belong to government for a long time, but we would like to hear your strategy and how you get there in the end. Let's turn to you, Mr. Analyst, Mr. Arthur Nsiko. What's your view when you look at these figures?
I just want to congratulate UMEME upon the good performance. I believe following a year of a lot of economic challenges, and then you post a profit after tax of 148% growth. I believe it's excellent. Like you said, again, I believe that this came in on the back of a good year again for the energy sector in general. We had Bujagali, the hydropower project, come onto the grid, which meant that, of course, supply increased. That is for UMEME, so they were able to actually grow their revenues because they had something to supply, and of course the demand is already available. So I believe that was also key, on top, of course, of the other factors that Robert has talked about.
And what do you think the new year would look like?
Well, different from Robert, as an analyst, I can predict.
Yes.
Well, I am very positive about the current year, financial 2013 for UMEME. One of the factors that I look at best is they reported that they invested about $36 million for the past financial year. And as Arthur, when I look at the books of UMEME, I believe that most of their revenues or most of their growth comes in is very much affected by how much capital they invest. Because if you actually read their prospectus just before the IPO, they talk about the fact that for every investment that they make, I think they receive a 20% premium of it. So I believe this $36 million, which I know will be reflected in financial 2013, will really do a great deal in posting further good results. Secondly, I believe that with supply going to improve, especially that we already have Bujagali on, I feel we're going to see better supply of electricity. In other words, UMEME will have enough to sell out. Demand is already out of the question. They really have good demand. So I expect a very good financial year 2013.
All right, we're also joined by Mr. Issa Sekitto, spokesman of the Kampala of Kizito, the traders group. You're welcome. Mr. Sekitto is joining us on the line. Yeah, what's your reading of these figures? Women are doing a terrific job. They even made a profit. Mr. Issa, Sekitto, do stay with us. But let's come back to you, Mr. Mubiru.
Yes, please.
Do stay with us, Mr. Kizito on the line. Talk to us, Mr. Mubiru. How did you manage to get these good results in UMEME?
As I said, we had a very clear strategy to improve our efficiency as a company. We are always working on our revenue cycle, just like Mr. Issa Sekitto indicated. He's also, despite the other comments that he made, he's recognized improvements in that area. We've worked on our meter reading, we've worked on our billing, and those are areas that we continue to focus on and make sure that we deliver value for money in that area. Also, as our colleague here, the analyst, identified, the availability of additional power meant that we had more sales, because this is a sales-driven environment. We have a fixed return, so the more we sell, the higher our return will be. I'm not talking about capital, I'm talking about the operational side. So by driving efficiency using technologies like touch pay, improving and spreading prepayment, improving the way we deliver power in certain areas, as you've seen in Natete, we're using aerial bundled conductor and other different technologies. We managed to post these results, and we believe that they're going to improve also.
And if you look at the new year, what are some of the bottlenecks that you would have to deal with?
Yeah, we still have the issues of illegal connections, you know. It's true, we have issues as a company in terms of service delivery, but we also have a huge issue with respect to the perception with which people take power, and it is a commodity that needs to be paid for. And many people take liberty to access power illegally. It's very unsafe. It leads to people dying, people getting maimed and injured. But on top of that, it leads to losses. And these losses just translate back into the whole energy sector, and we have to pay for them collectively. You see, and that is why we call it a fight. The fight against losses. Because it is a battle. Really, the flip side of losses is billing. If the power is not lost, then it will be reflected in your bill, and you have to pay for it. So what happens is people are actually evading being billed power that they're using.
Listeners, this is Spectrum on Radio, and tonight, Power Company UMEME reports solid financial performance. Will this translate into fulfillment of its obligations to customers? Our guest, Mr. Robert Mubiru, project manager at UMEME, Mr. Arthur Nsiko, an analyst. He's head of research at the African Alliance, and Mr. Issa Sekitto, spokesman of the traders, that's the Kizito group. You will be able to call in and contribute to this discussion at some stage. Mr. Arthur Nsiko, two things. One, is this performance sustainable? Two, what do they need to do to move it forward?
Is the performance sustainable? I think looking at the short term, that's probably for 2013, I feel it will be repeated. Probably it may not be, the growth may not be that high, but it will be repeated. Like I said, according to my research, I believe capital investment drives a lot of the revenues, a lot of the growth of UMEME, and following the reported capital investment of over $25 million US, I think that will drive growth going forward. And I also look at the supply side, like my colleague hinted. I feel it's going to improve further for financial 2013 following the launch of Bujagali last year. So supply will not be a problem in the short term. Looking at the medium term, of course, this will base on
medium term. That's about 3 years.
That's about 3 years. This will base on, I feel, again, a supply of electricity, because according to our projected growth as African Alliance, we believe demand for electricity in Uganda goes at about 10% averagely per year. So definitely on top of Bujagali, you need to have probably mini hydros coming onto the grid, and we project probably Karuma will come in probably in the 6 years or something, or 5 years. So definitely medium and long-term growth very much will be pegged on the supply of electricity. I believe demand is still growing, but I can't say much on medium to long-term growth because it will depend on how many mini hydros can come in, and also on how fast Karuma will be brought onto the grid.
Mr. Miru, when can we expect load shedding to end? We are supposed to be enjoying a surplus of electricity, but we still see load shedding. How do you explain that contradiction?
We actually have a surplus right now, and any outages that are being experienced are not a result of load shedding. I really want to emphasize that. Right now, if there's power not being supplied to any area, it's not because there's not enough power. It's because of a fault maybe on the network, and as Mr. Issa Sekitto indicated in his submission over the line, we do sometimes have works, expansion works. A very good example is the one that he mentioned, that was mentioned in Luboa. We're trying to build and launch a substation, a new substation to supply the area. So we've had to interrupt power supply because you can't construct new plant on live lines. So we frequently try and notify people. Sometimes it's just breakdowns, but it's not because there's no supply. Load shedding is taking off power because you don't have enough. There's no supply. Right now we have a surplus. About the details of the surplus, I think UTCL members can tell us, but I think it's around 35 megawatts right now.
Well, let's talk about how much electricity we produce. It's the 590. We have several figures. 596 megawatts. Is that the actual figure?
I really can't comment. I know that there's installed plant, but we don't dispatch all of it. Actually, there's some plants that are not being dispatched because of price and other reasons that I cannot authoritatively speak about. But what we have, whatever plant is being dispatched right now, exceeds what we need.
About 30. Let's get some figures from the ministers.
Yeah, I think current capacity is over 800 megawatts.
Installed.
That is installed.
Yes.
That is that is both. If you look at both mini hydros and the main generators.
And demand.
Demand, I need to confirm that, but
around 550, 570 around.
Around 570 megawatts. So we have a surplus of about 300 megawatts.
That's not a surplus. There's a difference between installed capacity and what can be dispatched.
What do we normally get? I mean, 800 is installed capacity. When the turbines are running at full throttle, they don't always run at full throttle.
Yeah. All I can tell you is that at any one time, if you were to run all the plant, we have a surplus of about 35 megawatts. Yeah.
Mr. Sekitto, what are some of the demands for the traders? Do these explanations make you happy when they say they are repairing lines, so power goes off sometimes?
You have a surplus, you have
Spectrum, we're going for a break. That question and others will be answered when I get back.
So I'm chilling at home with my crew. The boys are waiting to watch the game on the telly, but the chicks want to go to the beach. So how do we play it? I glance across the room. Eye contact is made. A plan is hatched. Pete will get some sand. Lots of it. Jeff will take care of the deco, Tim the entertainment, and I the clubs. And so we bring the beach to the apartment. If we can't go to the beach, we bring the beach to us. It's just how we do.
It's not about where you're at. It's the difference you bring. Get a fresh take on things. Club is brewed longer for easier drinking. Brewed slower for great taste. Club, tastefully different. Not for sale to persons under the age of 18.
Excuse me, what is this 300 shillings on my bill for?
That is for the tinted candles, madam.
And this 100 shillings?
That is for the air conditioning.
And this 200 shillings?
For the blue walls, ma'am.
I can't believe this!
Why pay for what you don't use or ask for? That's why we at Standard Chartered are introducing the Easy Go account, the first current account of its kind that gives you complete control of your banking charges. For more details, visit a Standard Chartered branch or call 0414-340077.
Would you like to leave me a tip, please?
MTN, everywhere you go. Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90.
Welcome back on Spectrum tonight. Power Company UMEME reports solid financial performance. Will this translate into fulfillment of its obligations to customers? Our guests tonight, Mr. Robert Mobiru, Project Manager at UMEME, Mr. Athan Siko, Head of Research at African Alliance, is our analyst tonight, and Mr. Issa Sekitto joining us on the line. He's a spokesman for Kizito, the traders group. You will be able to call in and contribute to this discussion. Mr. Mobiru, Mr. Kizito, Mr. Sekitto had these concerns about economies of scale. Prices don't seem to be elastic with your demand, with the demand and supply.
That was a good observation by Mr. Issa Sekitto. But I just want to remind him what the situation was like. The problem is memories tend to be short. If you recall, towards the mid of 2011, when the dramatic load shedding started, Greco pulled out because they were not being paid at the time, and they actually removed their machines over time. And so all of a sudden, we moved from a mild load shedding situation to a really drastic one. And at the time, it became apparent that the subsidy that the government was injecting into the sector to finance the expensive power produced by the diesel generators was not sustainable. So in the short run, without Bujagali and without Agreco, we went through some very rough time with load shedding. When Bujagali came on, true, Bujagali power was cheaper, but remember that the subsidy that the government was injecting was unsustainable, so the government was not about to put back a subsidy. So actually the price had to be marked up to reflect the true total cost of the cheaper Bujagali power and the existing other embedded generation. The total true cost before when Agreco was generated was about 900 to about 1,000 shillings per tariff. Had it been passed through to the end user without a government subsidy. So the government was buying that down to about 480. So what the regulator did, he adjusted it up to 524, and they basically relieved the government of the need to subsidize. Remember, they were subsidizing the intervention expensive power that was brought in as a stopgap to support the economy.
Right now, no more thermal generators.
There are thermal generators, but they are dispatched only at peak power, at peak periods when we have that high peak. And as I said, they don't dispatch all of them because we do have a surplus in terms of generators.
Talk to us about these prepaid meters. We expect to have them rolled out countrywide. right? You only see them coming in at a trickling pace.
The prepayment metering program, first and foremost, I want to say that we are totally committed to it. We believe that prepayment meters result in an improved customer service experience with the utility, because it puts the onus, the authority, the ability to control your own electricity in the customer's hands. And you get all these people visiting your homes, going away, disconnectors, readers, blah, blah, blah. So we're committed to it. The issue right now is just at what rate should we roll it out, and to also manage the cost of rolling out. So we are currently in talks with the regulator, and we are in talks with the ministry and various financiers to ensure that we ramp up and fast track the rolling out of prepayment. Right now, with our own internally generated funds, we're already ramping up the program as much as we can, and we're going to finish what we call Natete district. We want to do the areas of Bunamwaya, Rudo, and other places close to the Natete area and Lunguja side, and we're also going to start rolling out towards Ntinda side there. So, and all those just smidgens of plans that we have internally, but we definitely are committed.
So one day we shall allow prepaid power.
Yes, but not
3 years.
Yes, we're looking medium term. By the third year from now, there'll be a significant presence of prepaid meters.
95%?
No, definitely not. The main flip switch point will be when we stop connecting new people using postpaid. One of the greatest innovations that helped us actually be in this position that we are is touchpay, because remember, as soon as you give somebody a prepaid meter, he must have the ability to buy, otherwise it's going to switch
like
off.
airtime.
Yeah, so just imagine if somebody applies for power in Arua, and then in Koboko, in Kasese, you must be able to make that vending.
For it.
Yeah, so with the mobile platform, it has freed us. So that means we can now train our teams, import the necessary materials over time, so that we have the skill and the capacity to roll out every new connection. Once we flip that switch, we're looking to do that maybe in the next year or the coming year, and that means that we will greatly reduce the existing postpaid meters.
So most of that will be for domestic users. The industrials will probably be left out for a while.
Well, let's discuss that. If I'm an industry like I don't know, maybe like Mukwana, and I pay 50 or 200 million a month, would you want to prepay that money?
Maybe you want to. Let's talk about the billing. Let's talk about the billing systems.
Okay.
People complain. You estimate this. You look at the size of the house, whether it is tiled or iron sheds, and then you decide how much they should be running out in bills.
Let me just put that in perspective. First and foremost, we are very tightly regulated as far as estimations are concerned. There's actually a parameter and a target that we have with the regulator to ensure that we minimize estimates. Estimates per se are not bad. Actually, if you were to go to more developed countries where they have more stable billing systems, you find that they estimate 8 to 10 months out of a year, and they do 2 reads and they have a contract. But with the kind of environment that we have now, where customers are still averse to estimation and our billing system still needs some more work, we are moving the opposite direction. We want to deliver 12 actual readings for every person with a postpaid meter. Now, right now, we are standing at 5% of estimates of the total customer base.
Right.
And that is down in the last 4 years from 17%, where we used to have whopping estimates. And on top of that, these estimates are now managed smartly within the billing system. What we've done is we've installed an algorithm within the billing system that looks at the historical consumption and does...
It's an intelligent estimating, automated.
Yes.
Mr. Siko, let's talk about their speed of reactions. A transformer goes down. What's your own experience and what you've heard from other people? Do they respond quickly, or do they wait until the weekend is out and they come?
Okay, that's an interesting question from an analyst.
Yes.
Personally, I just have an experience from one of my colleagues in office who probably said it went off over the weekend, but I think the challenge is that some of our colleagues out in the country do not know about the PR system that UMEME has in case of probably power outages that are not expected and what. But in my case, I know about that, and I have a colleague who actually experienced it on one of the weekends when he had a function, and he just had to log through. I think they have an email system where you can report such, and he says, well, the response came in on Monday. Probably these guys were out of office on Sunday. Yeah, but I think it's relatively improved compared to what we had before UMEME came into the system.
Mr. Sekitto on the line, can you talk to us about this rural electrification program? Does it make sense to Kizito, and should it be ramped up quickly? Should it be?
When you look at what is done in the rural areas, we must be very careful when we are installing the electricity there. There are people who have the electricity. My home area of Amnani got electricity during the ministry regime. But if you went to all the houses, you will find that in my father's house, he used the lantern because of the cost of power. He thinks that by giving me power and I get power without sugar, you ask him what you like. He will say, buy for me a kilo of sugar other than paying this expensive power because it is not having any commercial activity related. Therefore, when we are about this electrification, and we supply those that are already undershot, except that we do not have a supply, while we have a shortage somewhere. Secondly, recently we had a Mauritian exhibition in this area. I can once again to all our American. The power within the range of her speech, the power went off 6 times. She almost led us to the administration of the hotel, hoping that they remain on generator, other than speaking her speech, which was so lucrative, but which would be interrupted every 3-4 minutes. So if you want to get the value for money and also get the improvement you want, are you looking at the rural electrification economically, socially, or what are the dimensions? I want to say this as my final comment. We always see people in women coming and part of electricity. Unfortunately, and they take this as a serious note, when some of your staff come to us, the moment they remove the solidors, the names they leave behind are not complete names. And at times they do not even give us numbers. By the time we are following up on this, they ask you who disconnected you, then you will need to go and buy for new sets of solidors because the people that switched you off use the single name, change it to what is sent it to. So these are some of the issues that directly affect the customers. But as far as the rural electrification is concerned, if I was a business person like you remember where, I would satisfy those that need my service first before I talk to you taking its power. I don't want to take a listen to the villages such that they are commercial activities, but we should find how we started to know which place needs the power first. We satisfy that, and then we come to those that will need it in the future later.
Yes, Mr. Mbill, talk to us about that.
About rural electrification?
No, we'll talk about that, but let's talk about, first of all, these people who disconnect. They come wearing overalls and then they go away, leaving only one name.
First and foremost, I must sincerely apologize if Mr. Sekitto got such a service experience. It's not what we expect of the people who send out there, and I cannot deny that such incidents occur when we take action against them. Actually, I was even involved in one last week, so it's something that we are seriously reviewing, and we want to greatly improve in that area. We have tried our best to give details of other people whom you can refer to, the district managers, the commercial officers, on our website, both their names, their numbers, and they're available 24/7 just to assist.
Rural electrification.
Rural electrification is a government initiative. It's a government initiative. I won't go into policy, but it's an initiative that's being driven by the government. So our role in rural electrification is accepting lines that have been built out by RIA, or that we have built out.
That's the Rural Electrification Agency.
Yes, or that we have built on behalf of the Rural Electrification Agency. Those lines, until they're built out and commissioned, are not part of our grid, and we take them on. And the Rural Electrification Agency has different models. Sometimes it builds lines, sometimes it builds lines and connects customers. But once they are part of the grid, then all the people within the hinterland and all the customers are treated as UMEME's customers.
All right. Perhaps before we hear from the listeners, talk to us about the power you sell to Kenya. Why do you sell electricity to Kenya, or do you not?
Our grid is interconnected with Kenya for totally engineering purposes, totally technical purposes. The interconnection of the grids between Rwanda, Kenya, and Uganda, and I think Tanzania, and I think Ethiopia, that's just a natural way systems are run. In terms of energy flows between Uganda and Kenya, actually we are receiving power from Kenya to stabilize our system. And that's the way it works. So
they sell us electricity.
A very small amount we receive just for stabilization. So we stopped exporting for commercial reasons in 2008.
We stopped selling electricity to Kenya in 2008. We completed our contracts.
The contracts ended long before that.
These were colonial contracts,
yes.
50 years.
Yes, and remember 50 was 1994. That's when it ended.
All right, let's hear from the listeners. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. You can call in now. Tonight, Power Company UMEME reports solid financial performance. Will this translate into fulfillment of its obligations to you, the customers? Our numbers 0414 348 111, 0312 260 390, 0312 261 390. Spectrum, hello?
Hello.
Yes. Good evening, sir. Your name?
My name is Steven, and I'm calling from Martin.
Yes, Steven. Go on.
Now, may I have one direct observation I've made today about the bidding of UMEME? I received a bill which has a reconnection fee of 10,000, which is taxable too. And nobody has ever disconnected my power for the last maybe 10 years or so. It is very strange to find a reconnection fee charge included on the bill, and I was wondering how many customers have received bills like that. So I think on top of the bills being high, then they now add unfair reconnection fees, which I think imaginary. It is very, very unfair to us.
Steven, can you give us your phone number? We'll follow up on that.
My number is 0772
Yes.
464
Yes.
714.
Someone will call you and follow that up from UMEME. That's a brand new UMEME, a very reactive one. You know, you react to these things these days. Spectrum, hello? Hello? Yes, your name? Yes, Joseph. Can you switch off your radio, Joseph, and then talk to us with clarity?
Right now,
Yes, go on.
yeah, and now when I go to UMEME, they told me I need to get my own transformer, and I said to understand that because I know that because what belongs to UMEME, and I'm trying to invest to know they go in that area, and I saw that when I do that investment and economic activity, it benefits a number of people. I don't have to invest in a transformer. How do I go about it?
Spectrum, hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Your name?
How are you?
Very well, your name?
From Phoenix, my name is in Kampala.
Okay.
I just have to comment to make the business
Spectrum, hello. I think the message is very clear there. Hello? Yes, ma'am. Your name? Come again with your name? Yes, Bernadette. Spectrum, hello?
Hello, this is my name from Sekitto. I'd like to thank the members from UMEME and really appreciate the work they are doing at the moment. It is a big improvement, which I must appreciate. I also want to thank the Bongo branch manager, Kisubi. Everything is doing a great work. So, readers, they are holding a bad thing. They are finishing their name. We need to do something. Recently, this girl, they came to my home and they said I was feeling electricity. And yet, the day they came, I had paid the bill they had delivered the day before. So, when this guy says there's still electricity, I don't know the type of people you're using, whether they have old gas to read, really to understand the meter reading. And also, the other caller said they're changing the meter with the bill with a reconnection fee. This changing happens. I wonder how can that happen?
Okay, Spectrum, hello?
Hello?
Yep. How about this?
Yeah, I would like to supplement the gentleman who talked about whatever construction. I also wanted to mention that I was putting up a house somewhere and I had to spend about 10 million shillings to move the line from where it was up to my house. And just wondering whether they can to help such a person so that it was that much money and then the people around you will have from that without charge anything. So where is going to support that initiative?
All right. Spectrum, hello?
Hello?
Yes, your name?
Yes, my name is Emond. I'm calling from Chirika. Now, I'd just like to ask the gentleman of UMEME that when we look at models like national water and they're using on-spot bill, what can UMEME apply this policy? Question number one. Number two, when we do have a test that I've played for almost a month, I have on the fridge and the TV and use cold water. But my average bill was 40,000. So I not received a bill for a period of 2 months, but I knew my average usage and I knew how much I consumed. But I was later given a bill of 302,000 splits. For those items, I have not added anything more. So, in order to avoid the impact, because if I don't pay, I don't have power. And there's no way they can follow. So I paid for a reconnection. And I also paid a meter, some meter inspection fee of 5,000, I think 5,000, which is paid separate from the entire bill. But I was told in 24 hours, people will come to take what my meter because the only problem that I've seen was the meter. Up to today, there's no possible income. I'm very sure I'm getting another bill of around 300,000.
Okay, let's get back to the studio. Get the response, Mr. Mobile. You can respond.
I can respond.
Reconnection fees where there's not been a reconnection.
That one has asked for. No, it's definitely no. No, it's not a fundraising. That's why I took the number, so we'll definitely follow it up. There must be something wrong there, and somebody else mentioned that it's happened to him.
Yes.
As for Ronald in Kireka, all I can do is ask him to go back to where's Kireka. He should go back to the band office, and he should follow up that 302,000 billing and see what happened. We've been rectifying wrong bills. However, sometimes the rectification does not necessarily go your way if the error was on our side in terms of not picking readings. But we rectify them.
Joseph, he needed his own transformer.
Yeah. I'll combine that with Albert. He's saying for him he had to extend his line for about 10 million shillings. Now, this is the kind of structure that we have right now when we're doing new connections. The no pole single phase, which is the most common domestic, and second most common, which is one pole single phase, are subsidized. It's a policy we found in place. We carried it forward. The regulator allowed it for us to go, and we manage it with the regulator. Once you move out of that category, the subsidy falls away, and you have to pay for...
That is what? Anything more than one pole?
Anything that is not one pole, one pole, single phase, or no pole, single phase.
So if it's two poles,
you have to pay the full amount.
Even for the other pole, the first pole?
Yes, but remember that it's the real minority. Yeah, those will make up about 2% of all the total connections. And what this gentleman
said, a small number.
What this gentleman said, the issue of building out a line into an area and not getting compensation, we are not mandated legally to deny people power. However, we do ask for consent, so he can work out his consents with his neighbors, and many times people in the neighborhood get together and they apply collectively and they get an amortized value, which is a lot cheaper.
Same policy, you don't patrol at night, and that's when most power is.
Actually, we've started night patrols from last year in June. We started night patrols around Katwechinyoro, Ndeva, Lunguja, and Lukuri, and we're going to expand them to Gaza. So my message to all those who are stealing at night:
the honeymoon is over.
Watch out.
She says she's been constantly disconnected. Sometimes the pie is too much, and then the bills are.
I tried. Maybe if she can give us her number, we can follow it up.
You can give her a number to call. Helpline in Entebbe.
She's in Entebbe?
Yes, that's what she said.
I would still say that she'd call our general helpline 0800 185 185.
0800 185 185.
Yes.
Okay.
The complaint will go.
Jeffrey said meter readers are giving you people a bad name. That was the same complaint as Steve. Talk to us, Other. What do you think this year? Do you think we'll have, if we had this conversation this time next year, shall we have less complaints, do you think, looking at the way these people are moving?
Well, I believe we will have less complaints, especially looking at my side, my part of the scheme. If you look at the investment bit of it, I look at it from the point of view that I think the IPO has helped UMEME as a company to kind of free their balance sheets, so they can be able to fund most of these operational procedures. So I believe not only this year, but even going forward, especially that now they can access more funding, I think we are going to see a lot more efficient UMEME than what we have seen before.
In plain English, what you're saying, go to the stock exchange, help them get some money to improve services. So it was a good thing you helped them go to the stock exchange.
Well, I feel it's a good thing. Those that bought into the UMEME IPO, I think within 4 months, if you have a 15% growth in your investment, I think it was the right deal.
And they've given them $24 billion shillings in dividends. I was wondering why they did that for 4 months.
And on top of that, of course, you have UMEME people bought into it at 275, it's trading at 305.
There's already a profit.
Growth, so.
Good return on profit there. We have to go. Thank you very much, dear guests. Mr. Robert Mugo, project manager at UMEME, thank you for coming tonight. Mr. Afansiko, head of research at African Alliance, our analyst tonight. They helped you when I go to the for the IPO at the stock exchange. Mr. Issa Sekitto, spokesman of the Kizito group, joined us on the line. Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Emond, Kizito Spectrum. We'll be back tomorrow. Up next, you can hear the news in the English language.
This message has been sent at the speed of 32 Mbps, which is the fastest and most reliable internet today.